Small addiction up. Yeah. Let me tell you about the pain of the broken home. Let me tell you about the flesh wounds and broken bones. Let me tell you about the essence of a rolling stone. Mama said he wanna leave, let that nigga go. Shout out in this pockets, them the chicks that we been living on. Fuck the IRS, that half the ticket that they hit me for, I'm slipping slow. Go to roll out Twitter, it's hard to kick it though. At least I don't promote it on the gram, it's my addiction though. And I'm the pain that I've been going through, who are you to judge? I miss you, Brenda, I should without you, I've been secluded, love. These people use your love against you, they abuse your love. She been abused by all these men in the pursuit of love. We suited up. Never mind the peons who ain't doing enough. Compassion for the hopeless and the homeless because they've been doing enough. Right now.
Y'all like my DJing skills? How I fade it out? I try. What's up? I'm Tanya Faison with Black Lives Matter Sacramento. This is the Negus is Tired podcast. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, you guys.
What's going on? I'm Victor from Black Lives Matter Sacramento.
What's up, y'all? Bishoy, BLM Sac.
Hey, so we out here. Hey, people are saying hi, so I'm saying hi back. We got people watching. So we got some stuff to talk about. It's been a minute since we've been on here. We do have a list of things to talk about. There's so much, especially today, there's a lot to, don't make fun of me, y'all. My glasses are broken. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm not trying to be ugly. I just don't have glasses. I mean, this is what they look like. So if they go crooked or anything, don't make fun of me. But yeah, we have a lot to talk about today. We have an agenda that we made in advance, but some stuff went down today that we want to talk about as well, or just, you know, ponder on and see what possibly could be next for our police chief, who decided to retire today a couple hours ago. He did a post that he submitted his retirement to, what's his face? Howard Chan. He submitted his retirement paperwork to Howard Chan. So he's out of here. No second term. He's been there for 4 years. He don't want to be here another 4 years. But we're gonna start off talking about the things that are on our agenda. There have been a lot of different movements that have happened in the last couple of months. There's the Stop Asian Hate movement. Then there's been a movement with folks that are in the Mexican community, with people that are, you know, tackling folks that have stands for food and stuff. It was happening mostly in LA, some in the Bay Area. I think it may have happened in Sacramento maybe once. But, you know, there was a movement behind that. Brown folks got behind their people with that. But with those movements came a lot of hate in our mailbox, and it came in our social media from folks that were other groups of color, who it felt like, you know, they were waiting for the opportunity, like they had anti-Blackness in them, or they didn't like Black folks in advance because it felt like the opportunity came and they jumped on it to come down on us, demanding things from us. And so we want to talk about that a little bit. I'm gonna let Victor lead that because this was a topic that he had brought to the table in regards to a lot of things that he brought up in regards to being indigenous and how our fight impacts other folks of color. So I'm gonna let Victor go ahead and start it off.
Yeah, for sure. I just think that it was interesting to see a couple of different things as each of those movements kind of moved past. And like the attack that happened, like towards the Black community, specifically BLM groups, like what are y'all doing about it? Where are you at? Which just kind of shifted me back to like the reminder of the focus of what we do, and that we're under so much pressure, both as a community and for folks who like advocate for Black lives, and specifically against the idea and the notion of like state violence, right? Like what happens to us from the state perspective. And then it just got me thinking about like the idea of like how much of current movements and current rights that happen in other communities are built off the backs of Black labor, right? Like the civil rights movement was primarily built off the back of Black labor, off of Black folks. The violence was initiated there. And what you got from that was a lot of other protections for immigrants. You got blanketed, overall extensions of like rights and things like hate crimes. All of those extend specifically from the violence that was like targeted towards Black bodies. And then you see kind of a difference in a drastic like comparison of what happens when legislation gets passed or gets moved for specific groups, right? Like All Down for the Stop Asian Hate portion of it was a bill that got introduced literally in March and got passed in May, right? But I think about the anti-lynching bill, which gets introduced in every Congress and never gets passed, right? Like the idea of the Emmett Till bill, which never gets passed, never gets advocated for, but we know that one, lynching is still very much something that happens to Black folks inside of the community. Two, we still know that Emmett Till's killer is that initiated the killing of Emmett Till is still very much alive, very much not suffering any consequences towards what happened to her, towards her or what she initiated, and has a gag order towards the portion of like, and when I'm done, when I do die, I'm gonna profit off the fact that I killed this Black man, right? Like I'm gonna have a book deal from it. And so for me, I just think like a lot of the times when we see actions that are focused for Black folks, it just shows again like the fungibility and the things that are good that are moved for Black folks usually moves the needle for everybody, right? And like I appreciate that, and there's definitely a need for us to address different things that happen inside of the community, but it comes at a cost. I think sometimes we see things move a lot faster for protections of other communities, but like I said, the anti-lynching bill or the Emmett Till bill is something that's been sitting and waiting with no movement.
Sure.
Yeah, man, Vic, I think you hit every point on that, and I think that piece of it, Tanya, that you said about is a lot of it's the anti-Blackness that they came already with, right? Like, and I think that isn't spoken enough about when we often in mainstream conversations around race, right? Racial conversations and racial reconciliation. The automatic image is white folks. And while that is most of the time very true, the reality is that everybody has embodied anti-Blackness, right? And no one is free of that. And I just think it leans itself into this conversation because we see time and time again when Black folks move the needle, as Vic put it, and when we make steps forward on the backs and on the labor of Black folks, specifically Black women, that everyone else gets upset. And I think that really is because there's still that feeling of inferiority. Like, wait, these folks got some change and we haven't yet. Right? And I just think that, that stems from that anti-Blackness, that folks still see Black folks as the bottom, right? The outcasts, the very bottom of the caste system. And so if we're making movements for ourselves, then everyone else who has privileges that Black folks don't have, right, are upset at that. And they immediately are angered by that because they see themselves as like, wait, I'm lighter, right? I mean, I'm lighter skin. I'm not Black, right? It's kind of I'm not Black. How am I being treated like this, right? And so I think that's where the mentality of anti-Blackness still exists in every culture, in around the world. This isn't just American culture, right? Anti-Blackness exists in Africa. Anti-Blackness exists in Asia. Anti-Blackness exists in Australia and Europe. Like, anti-Blackness exists everywhere that white folks have touched. And the reality is they've reached across the entire world, and it has touched every single culture. And the reality is that if we don't come to grips with the fact that like BiPoC folks, specifically non-Black BiPoC folks, embody anti-Blackness in how they're raised, then this conversation just becomes circular, right? It becomes well, what about us? Or why aren't you fighting for us too? Or where are Black people when this happens? And it's like, we've been here. We've been doing the work before any of y'all, right? And I just think that it becomes this this what is it called? Oppression Olympics.
Right.
Who's more oppressed, right? And that just, feeds into from whiteness and white supremacy, right? As long as oppressed people are fighting each other, we not beating nobody. System's still winning,
Yeah, you when you talk about it being in every culture, like even in every community, there's a lot of people that I saw that have never been out in the streets with us or have never fought against police violence against Black people or any type of violence against Black people at the hands of the state, saying stop Asian hate and getting really angry about it, really passionate about it, Black folks. And I'm like, bruh, like you don't even fight that hard for yourself. So, and it's not to say that, we shouldn't be fighting for each other. We should definitely be in solidarity with each other all the time. That's how we get strong. But like you said, it's the entitlement. Like the whole reason that Black Lives Matter exists is because for decades, we've been always fighting for other people. And every time that there is a fight for oppression, like people always tap on Black folks. And I don't know if it's our strength, if it's something natural within us, but people come to us and they want us to do this fight with them or for them or be strategic for them. And, we're finally at this moment where we are taking care of our people and we're fighting for our people and we're being very intentional about it. And it's funny because over the last couple of years, while I've been doing this work, even before those movements existed, there have been people that have died at the hands of law enforcement that weren't Black. And folks have come into our spaces while we're saying the names of Black folks and been very demanding that we say the names of other people, which I don't have a problem doing that, but don't come in this space and demand that I do something for you, because I don't work for you. I work for my people, and you're not my people right now. And you're being anti-Black in your sentiment in our space. So it's very real. It's very, very real. We're going fast, but I guess that's okay. You said, I always mess this up. The acronym is BiPoC.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned that, and we had talked about that acronym when we organized this. And so let's talk about Black, Indigenous people of color, Black and Indigenous people of color. And I guess I'll let Victor lead in this again, because this was something that he had mentioned, but it is something that was on my mind too. I just never had the words for it. So go ahead.
Yeah, can I say one more thing about the last topic, and then I want to go. So I think the other thing that's interesting about that is that anti-Blackness is a form of state sanctioned violence. Like these other members of the community have, like, it's learned, you know what I mean? And I did see a lot of unity around these movements. Black folks always show up to support, you know what I mean? Like that's what we do. Like right is right, wrong is wrong. We always show up to support, right? And because of where we're positioned inside of neighborhoods, we're never separated or segregated. Everybody lives in our neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Like we always come to an understanding of different cultures. We're always kind of mixing and blending, and like all of that happens in our neighborhood just by default about who we are, right? But what anti-Blackness teaches folks and how it ends up targeting us later is that they're like, but you can be mobile though. Like, you know what I mean? You can make this coin to get up out of this hood, or you can make enough of this coin to be able to buy this store so that you can do this X, Y, and Z. Like there's these incentives that then target the communities that are so close to us that allow for them to have access to move away from that, and that creates another pressure of anti-Blackness. And then the portion of like BiPoC, when I hear it, the thing that I find so important for that acronym is like, I definitely get that Black is its own identity. So I'm all good with that. But I don't want to, in that acronym, like erase the fact that Black folks in themselves are indigenous, right? Like we're indigenous Africans that were stolen, right? Like that it's not that this identity of Black was created because we wanted it. It's because our identity, our indigenous identity that as African folks who were stolen, were these seeds that were planted across the Americas, across the world. So I just feel like a lot of the times when we use, or when that term is used, I'm like, there's a blend between that happens with Black folks, like across the starting in the diaspora of, you know, Black Indigenous Africans that were stolen, but then Black folks that were here as well as Indigenous folks, like in Louisiana. Like there's history that is there that I think gets erased, and you know, in those intersections of where you have again anti-Blackness, or where you have the idea of like colonial portions of it, like you have quantum, like blood quantum fusions, like what level of indigenous portions of like are you, right? Which to me mimics so much the idea of white supremacy when it comes to the notion of like purity, like how white are you, right? It's like they ingested the same system into, you know, a community that wasn't about that, right? But in order for them to get recognized by the state, it was something that was instituted there. So for me, it's just more of an acknowledgement that when we say BiPoC, Black, Indigenous, like, and people of color, it's like there's an intersection there for Black folks. Like we're Black and we're Indigenous Africans who were stolen and are placed here, and there has to be, you know, that intersection needs to be recognized. And that's it. That's,
and then separating it makes it appear as if Black folks are not Indigenous. I mean, saying Black and Indigenous means that those are two separate things. Really quick, somebody made a comment on the last topic, so I'm gonna address it, because they said that the LGBT community is now stealing the Black light from like what we were talking about earlier, like demanding that we fight for them and this and that. So I just wanted to highlight that there are Black, queer, and trans people. There are Black lesbians, there are Black gay people, there are Black trans people, there are Black queer people, and all the other acronym letters. There are Black ones of all of those acronyms. So, and their fight is harder than just being a white person that's in that community. So they deal with racism from the white community that's in their community. They deal with racism from white folks outside of their community. They deal with anti-queerness and anti-trans or anti-trans behaviors from white folks and Black folks, from within their community and outside of the community, from within the gay community and outside of the gay community. So like they're dealing with a lot more levels of hate and intersection. Their intersections create more levels of hate that they have to deal with. So I wouldn't put them in a category of people that are stealing or trying to, you know, gain anything from the Black community, because they are our community and we do need to embrace them. And that's a whole nother topic and conversation, because it deserves to have a whole longer conversation. But they are definitely part of our community. I just wanted to say that. I'm gonna go ahead and let Bishoy take over on BiPoC. And if you want to talk to what I just said as well, whatever.
No, I mean, you put it's simple, right? I mean, and I think you put it perfectly. And Victor, for real, I appreciate, I think, correcting me on that. Even me, I say BiPoC all the time, and you know, I think that's because the circles of, you know, where I'm, you know, in education, that's the most politically correct term, right, when referring to our young people. But absolutely, you know, I think about that all the time. I'm like, you know, Black and Indigenous seem to be separate, and you know, how do we, you know, I think it starts with how we see ourselves, right? And so I think having to even check myself in that same way, Victor, and I really appreciate that, because you know, then it's like, even when I say that in front of our young people, that immediately begins to, you know, like Tanya said, begins to create that separation. Okay, Black and Indigenous are not the same thing, even if I mean Black, Indigenous, people of color, and it can have an intersectional piece to it. You know, the way other people view it, it's no, right? And so I definitely, I think being able to correct myself in that, and checking myself of how to not exclude people, and even how I move and how I speak. So I just want to say I appreciate Victor and Tanya and checking me in that, because I said it, right? I said it during this podcast.
Oh, it's common too. And there's a lot of it has a lot to do with education, right? Because a lot of people don't know that during the Ice Age is when people traveled to this continent. And that's when folks, you know, came over here, started, you know, planting their seeds, you know, picking where they want to live or whatever. I'm envisioning this, but people don't realize that it wasn't just, and it's hard to think of a word for Native Americans when you don't want to use indigenous, or you're isolating indigenous to just them. So I say brown folks all the time, but because a lot of brown folks don't know that they're also indigenous. But people don't realize that Africans came over during that time as well. And so that makes us indigenous to this land, but we're also indigenous to the world because Africa is where the oldest bones were found. So people, it's just a matter of education, I think. And even within our movement, I see people denying that we're indigenous. Some people do it and they are educated. They deny it based on how many of us were here. Some people do it without education, and they're just ignorant to the fact that we did come over here during the Ice Age. There was an instance where one of the founders of BLM, co-founders of BLM, had a speech at Sac State, and they brought an indigenous woman onto the stage to talk about Native American culture. And they were confronted with one of our folks about Black people being indigenous to this continent. And there was an actual debate about it. And so I think it just matters. It's a matter of education. It's a matter of looking at education a certain way, because of white supremacy, we only believe certain educators or certain constructs or certain, people that are delivering a message. If they have African type names or have, revolutionary type names, we don't believe them as much as we believe folks that are white male professors. So, I think that's what it boils down to, is just education. But we are indigenous to all the lands. If you really want to be specific, we have been everywhere, and we've influenced culture everywhere. We've influenced art everywhere. We've influenced mathematics everywhere. We've influenced everything, and we still influence everything. Still, like music, art, everything. Our culture, even Black culture in America, influences everything. You know what I mean? Like, we can't help but to influence everything, no matter where we're at, what people do to us, what we live through and survive. Like, we influence everything. I just had to get that off my chest because we do. But we're gonna go to the next topic. Victor, you contributed to this whole thing. We're gonna talk about depression, amongst other things, being weaponized by white people, specifically white women, against Black folks. I'm gonna let you lead this. What inspired this topic, Victor?
I mean, because it was, I think depression, mental health, like all of those things have been at the forefront over the last month for me. I like the one incident or video that stood out to me, even though I've seen several of them, was the incident of the Karen inside of the Victoria's Secret that was chasing this woman around for 21 minutes, the store, and she's like, "I'm filming you to protect myself," right? Like you're chasing me and then telling me to stop chasing you, right? And I don't mean to smile, but I'm like, it's because it's the audacity of all of it, right? Okay. And then to see the experience that this Black woman had, right? Like, you've been chased around the store, you've been damn near assaulted. The people inside of the store that were guests were like, could you stop videotaping her? And that's like asking the police to turn off their damn body cameras. Like, when the police show up, right? That they're even in every interaction that this Black woman was facing, they were like, you should stop. Like, they were accusing her of doing something that was wrong when all she was literally doing was trying to protect herself. You know what I mean? And I think, like, I hate that idea when folks are like, Black women are so resilient. And I'm like, but you shouldn't have to be. Like, and that kind of stuff right there, like that type of mental head game that a person has to walk into, like, it has to battle to see that I'm not going to be believed even when everybody is sitting here having the same experience that I am inside of this store. I have to videotape what's happening to me inside of this store, not because everybody else, first of all, is gaslighting the shit out of me. Like, nobody's seeing this woman do what she's doing. And then two, when the person who has to like judge that portion of it is going to come to like figure out what happens, 9 times out of 10, they're going to attack me too. and believe whatever this person who just got done attacking me said. And it like, yeah, the video's 21 minutes, but to me, it illustrated just so much about what it means to be Black, to be femme, and to be in a world where everyone's concerned about the person who's attacking you mental health or their mental stability, even as they're attacking you. And everything that you're doing to try to defend yourself seems to be seen as a weapon. But in actuality, what's happening to you is that this person, even if they're legitimately, you know, having a mental crisis, is weaponizing every aspect of her white tears to be able to try to enact violence towards this woman. Like that, and that was just, I mean, that was like just the tip of the iceberg of like mental health and being Black and being a woman in America that started off. And it started at Victoria's Secret with this lady, with Karen.
I didn't watch the video till recently because I'd heard too much about it, and I was like, you know what? But when you say that it's like we have to be on our toes with this, it reminds me of like feral cats, like that sleep outside and they have to sleep kind of light because somebody might walk up, it might be a dog, it might be a human, and they got to be on their toes ready to go. And so like us as Black folks, in particular Black women, and especially in this situation, we always have to be prepared. We always have to pull out our cameras. We always have to make sure that we have receipts. Because people will lie on us and people will believe the lie. And I kind of want to bring it back more to the weaponizing part, because a lot of things are used to weaponize are used as weapons toward Black people, whether it's mental health, you know, physical health, or anything. Just, I get it a lot. I get it a lot. I won't elaborate on that, but I get it a lot, like regularly. So, and it's always like this gaslighting of like, you know, no, you're doing this. Like, okay, like I've had problems even creating boundaries for myself, people pushing back on my boundaries that I've created for myself because they think that that's not fair, that I have a boundary, because I'm telling someone specifically, like, I can't continue to have these conversations, or I can't talk to you right now, or I'm gonna you know, put you on mute right now because I need to get back right mentally. And it's not one person in particular. Like I've been having to do this all my life, to be honest. And so, you know, people will get mad at you for making a boundary and then, you know, tell you that you're doing something wrong by making that boundary and it's not fair to them. And so it's just very common, and it's so ridiculously common. It's frustrating as fuck. And, you know, especially when you do community work like myself, it makes it hard because you want to make sure that folks feel a certain way in your space, but at the same time, you have to protect your neck. Does anybody want to elaborate on that?
I mean, I can, and I will. I think that just, I mean, a lot of that just stems from the expectation that Black folks aren't supposed to have boundaries. Like it really just is. Like Black folks are supposed to be accommodating. Like you're supposed to, like, it doesn't like there's this expectation that Black folks shouldn't be able to assert boundaries, that you shouldn't be able to talk about your own mental health and what that means, that you shouldn't be able to take a break from what somebody's like. There's just this expectation that, and definitely if you're inside of a role that's inside of the community, that you should, I should take that back. It don't matter where you are when it comes to white folks. They believe that they should have access to you when they want to have access to you, and they should be able to behave in a way that is most comfortable to them. And anything that sets a boundary around that becomes an issue, because that's not something that they're used to, especially when it comes from Black folks or Black femmes. Like, what you mean I can't just call you at 12 o'clock to ask you, like, what you mean I can't just talk to you? That like it's an expectation that we're not supposed to have boundaries. We're not supposed to set those things from that mental health perspective. And I like, and again, I think it's been center stage over this last couple of months. Like that, like the reality of how the world places the idea of Black mental health and how there shouldn't be any boundaries toward it. You're there to perform. a role. Not and that to me is just like, so that's why I think it's important for us to be able to set clear boundaries with folks and not feel bad about it, and for us to be able to retreat and have time to ourselves to be able to recuperate, because just from the world that we live in.
You want to say anything, Bashar?
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, I think that it's also this other piece of, at times, and you know, in the area that I work in, I see it all the time, is that resilience piece is, we honor that piece of Blackness as the only piece of Blackness, and that Black people are resilient, and that it is a gift, which it is. And also, we shouldn't have to be resilient as much as we are, you know, like, it's not a bad quality, but it becomes bad when that quality is all you're defined by. And so, you know, I think we put on ourselves, and everyone else puts it on us. Like you said, it becomes a show, and it's like, well, you've carried all this trauma and you have all this trauma and we recognize it, but can't you hold a little bit more? Just like a little bit more, you know? And I like, it ain't gonna, you know, and so I think it plays into all that. And the other piece that, when I saw that video, that came up for me, is genuine fear that a Black person's presence can really initiate that severe of a mental health crisis. That, to me, is what is most scary, is that is where white folks are at still. Many, it's not just some, it's not the few, it is many Black folks, when engaged or even around Black people, it is, and I mean, the mental health, the way their bodies and minds and spirits react to our very presence is so disturbing. It's terrifying. Like that, I was laughing at that video, but like it was out of audacity. I was like, what is happening?
It's unbelievable.
Because if that shit happened in front of me, I wouldn't know what to do. I look around, like I'm like, this guy, like, no, somebody's pranking my ass. Like, there ain't no way this, like, it's just like, it's terrifying at what Black people, what just the presence of Black people do to white folks. And when we succeed, when they think we're failing, it's that much more terrifying. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing, right? And this is why I call shenanigans on a lot of this shit. I'm sorry, with the weaponizing the white woman tears, I gotta call shenanigans. That woman was not. I'm gonna tell you what her mental health crisis was. Her mental health crisis was, this woman got a camera. I'm about to be on every outlet acting a goddamn fool, and I know my job is gonna see this. And I'm gonna have to explain why I chased this woman around in the Victoria's Secret and tried to fuck her up. Excuse me, sorry. That, like, to me, that's what that woman was scared of, because she wasn't like, leave me alone, let me just do what I do. She was very intense. She was like, oh, she's recording me. And I think it'd be that, like, oh, we supposed to be able to do this in the privacy, and not even privacy, but we supposed to be able to do this shit in public to y'all. And ain't supposed to be no repercussions, again, about those boundaries, right? And everybody in the store, had that woman not had a camera, had she not had that camera pointed on that woman would have acted like, when I say she would have escalated and become violent, because there would have been no repercussions. The only reason that woman went to, like, oh my God, she wasn't thinking about what she did to that Black woman. She wasn't thinking about any of that stuff. To me, she was like, my job about to see this. And when my job see this, I'm gonna have to go to HR and talk to them about, why you chasing that woman around why you chase her around like that? And that, to me, that's what, that's how I see, like, the weaponizing of white tears and the ideas of, like, their mental health being weaponized as a reason why it should justify their violence against Black folks. Like, that's got to stop. Like it's never going to be okay where you are to be like, oh, she should have been able to chase her around the Victoria's Secret. No. She did that because she was scared that she was going to have to justify that to her boss. That's my opinion.
Bashoy has to dip.
My
Bashoy,
bad, y'all.
it's his partner's birthday, so have fun tonight.
Appreciate it.
Happy birthday,
All
celebrate.
right, y'all.
Celebrate.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Peace.
All right.
Later.
When you say that, it just makes me think of acting class. Like she was ad-libbing and she was doing it in real time. Like she was processing what she was doing. And as she was processing it, she was thinking of what to do next. And then she was doing it. And she's like, how do I make this more believable? Let me fall on the ground real quick. How do I make this?
Did you see the slow fall though? It was so.
That's like, I don't want to hit my head fall.
Yeah.
But like, she just wasn't a good actress. That was a lot. It was a lot. And the lady was like, no, I'm not turning my camera off. You chasing me. And it's like, why does she have to reiterate the common sense information that's right in front of you to these other people that are observing all this? And how come, from what I heard, because I didn't watch when the police got there, but how come the police catered to this white woman instead of this Black woman who was being attacked by the white woman?
Right.
What is, this is, when you said, white folks feel like they can do this, it's because it's validated. Like they get validated every time that they do this. And there's anti-Blackness in that. And
I mean, 100%. And it's the reason why I think a lot of this stuff, it's not like this stuff wasn't happening before. The reason that we're seeing it so prevalent now is because of the video camera. Because everybody has a video camera in their pocket, we're able to see, like, this stuff been happening to our folks for a long time. You know what I mean? But now that we got video cameras to be able to see it, that's how we know how to navigate through it. You know what I mean? Because our parents, our grandparents already navigated through this without no cameras. You know what I mean? So we know how to keep our distance and stay lighthearted about the fact that you're being attacked by somebody in the store with nobody helping you about it, right? Even so, they were like, "Oh, let us just continue to check you out." Like, ma'am, have you called security yet? Like, are you not concerned about the other people in the store that she's just running around trying to, we've learned to navigate those spaces.
Have you ever had an experience that is not as extreme as that, but along the same lines? Because I can think of one right now that I had a couple years ago.
I mean, I think everybody has. Well, like, I think everybody has the.
People need to know how normal that was extreme, but people need to know how normal every day this is.
Right. Like,
you have
to me, I mean, I look at where I go to dinner, what towns we're about to stop in. You know what I mean? I think like three, what was it, 4 weeks ago? I'm like, I'm stressed. I've been stressed for a minute. Let's dip out to Palm Springs for a minute. You know what I mean? Right. I'm like, it's a queer community. We should be good. No worries, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. We go out and I'm just sitting there, right? And it's like, it's outside restaurant, right? And little bugs is like falling out the tree or whatever, right? And I'm like, damn, like, where's this shit coming from? And I look at the waiter, like, we had sat down and ate, you know what I mean? Like some of the bread or appetizers, not even appetizers, just bread or whatever was there. And the waiter comes over and looks and is like, I'm like, bro, it's bugs, like falling out the tree. And he's like, nah, it's not. And I'm like, bro, it's right there. And he looked at me like he didn't see it. And I'm like, all these people in this damn restaurant don't see what is happening right now. And he's like, if y'all just want free bread, like, you could just ask for the free bread. And I had to pull my whole self together, right? Because I'm like, I'll flip this whole down to, I will flip tables over in this motherfucker.
Jesus Christ on you.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't want, you think I came here for the free motherfucking bread? Like, I came here to relax and enjoy myself and not have shit drop on my head. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's the whole idea that Black folks can have a reality where white folks will insert and tell, like, gaslight you hard. Like, no, that's really not happening. You must have had this. Like, nah, bruh. Nah. And I can't say that I experienced the violence of it. I'm a whole different, I'm like 300 pounds, 6'2". Like, it takes a whole lot of motherfucker to be like, I'm gonna fuck with that motherfucker violently. So I don't ever really have that experience. But I do have the people who act like, who do try to act crazy or like cross boundaries from it. But I don't really have the violence of people chasing me unless they're the real police.
When we went as a group to Florida in 2018, and it was a variety of us, and we had been to, like, we went out partying at the club, to a straight club, but we had some queer and trans folks in our space, so we decided to go to an LGBTQ club in Florida, right, in Fort Lauderdale. And we thought it would be safe as well, because we're in this community that is, you know, oppressed people, right? And so it was not full, it was pretty empty. It was mostly white folks there. There was one girl there who was a queer woman, and she denied that she was Black. She said she was Jamaican, not Black. She's not African, not Black. She was Jamaican. So that was a whole conversation, because some of the folks I was with are outspoken. But they literally, like, when we put a song in the jukebox, they lowered the music. And then the DJ lowered the music. And so the person I was with, he was like, "Why'd you do that?" And he was like, "I can't hear what the people are saying." And he's like, "You're not even talking to nobody. And you had the music up a minute ago when you were talking to somebody." And so that started a conversation. We ended up leaving, and they kind of chased us out. And they literally were like, it was gay white men trying to fight me and like other women. And then they acted like they were calling the police on us. And they said, "I'm sorry, they're driving a Black Cherokee." And it wasn't, it was navy blue. I'm like, "It's not Black." They said, "Oh, I'm sorry, African American." Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. So then, wait. I hear you. So we left. I left we left the restaurant. Right. I'm sitting out on the street, and it's a sign, and I'm just confused about the sign. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to read and understand what this sign says. And this group of, like, again, gay white guys passed by, and the dude just looks me up and down hard, right? And I don't, like I said, I don't pay attention to that kind of like stuff, but it stuck in my mind, and I was like, bruh, I wasn't looking at you like that. Like, I'm genuinely confused about this sign. Like, I wasn't trying to, like, and dude came back and he was like, "Man, I was just scared that you was about to jump out at me." And I was like, bro, why would you, like, what in your mind made you think that I was going to, like, why would you think I was going to jump out at you, bro?
Victor,
Like,
you never look like you're gonna jump at it.
why? I'm like, why would you think I was going to jump out at you, bro? And he was like, "Well, I'm really sorry." And I'm like, "It's not even worth it, but I'm going home." Like, I was like, Palm Spring trip over.
I can't even imagine you looking like you're gonna jump on somebody. Like, I've never seen that stance at all. You're always very lax.
Because, I mean, I try to be.
I mean, that's, and these are just examples amongst many of where, like, people want to stand where we're standing and they don't see us standing there. I've had people literally, like, stand and stare at me really close to my face, waiting for me to move while I'm looking at something at Marshall's, like candles. And I'm like, okay, they're like, "I want to stand there." And or at Starbucks, they're pushing me over because I'm gonna move if you start to touch me. You know, that's a normal thing. I've had white men hold the doors open for other non-Black men and then shut the door in my face when it's my turn to walk through the door. And then I say something, because I'm not going to just be quiet about it. But, like, these are things that happen on a regular basis. People not holding the doors open. And that was like, this white guy, he held the door open for two Asian men. And then I was right behind. It was like I was with them.
Right.
And then he let the door shut. And I'm like, wow. And so I opened the door. I said, "Ain't I a woman?" Like, and he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." No, bro, you did that. You knew what you did.
Right.
So, yeah, this is everyday shit. Like,
no, you're right. Can we talk about it though? Why I think it became a world stage. It became a world stage event when I think Simone Biles, is that her name? Like, got on this world stage and was like, "Fuck all y'all, I'm taking a mental health day." Like, to me, that set a whole tone for, like, what it means to be Black inside of a white supremacist society. How automatically, even though you're doing more than anybody else is doing, you being judged at a lower ass standard and rated lower just because you already know that you're better than everybody else that's there. And then even when you've done that for years and years and years of jumping on balancing beams and flipping through the air and creating a whole new tricks for people. And like, I mean, to be a gymnast is incredible all in itself. You know what I mean? But to be on a level where this Black woman had just defined what this sport was and known that even to participate in that sport, she was going to be rated lower than everybody else. And then to get to the national, like the Olympic stage, be like, no, I'm gonna take my mental health. I'm gonna take it more serious than I've ever taken it before. I was like, why not? And then folks to be upset about her to be like, you should perform for what?
Didn't they tell her too that they had to judge her different because she was better than the others?
Right.
They literally like said that, didn't they?
Right. They didn't lie. They didn't lie. They was like, look, these other gymnasts, they cannot do what if they try. Listen, if they try to do what you do, they gonna kill themselves. So in order to like take it to the point where they don't hurt themselves, we're gonna hurt you. And to me, that is the symbolism of what white supremacist is when it comes to being Black.
That's the whole, it's a
the
summary of the whole story.
system. I was like, how is this all on the stage at the Olympics right now? And that's not what, like, how? Because that is the definition of what white supremacist is. It saw this Black woman who was so much better than everybody else that they were like, either you have to tone yourself down to stay at the level that everybody else is at mediocre, or you can continue to perform and entertain us. We'll name things after you. You can have your own name of moves or whatever, but we definitely ain't gonna give you no recognition from your scores. And you can never be at the top of your game, even when you're at the top of your game. Because
weren't there two African women too? Because there was a whole string of events that were anti-Black as fuck that happened in the Olympics, or prior to the Olympics. But weren't there two African women that were born identified as women? They were not born identified as male, and then were trans women. They were born identified as women, and they were told that they had too much testosterone, and so therefore they were not able to compete in a certain race, whatever. And it's like, okay, so let people be wonderful, let people be great, let people, if we exceed, then let us exceed, like, for crying out loud. If we're strong, then let us be strong. If we got more muscle mass, then let us be more muscular. Like, what is the problem?
Yeah, like, for sure. But the thing is that that's only targeted towards us. Like, when you look at that, like, the idea that those two women were prevented from competing, like, there was the idea that so a couple things. They were prevented from competing because of testosterone, right? And I think about and what is her name? Sha'Carri Richardson.
Oh yeah, Sha'Carri Richardson.
Also, was also prevented from competing, right? Because of marijuana. But then when you look at Michael Phelps, the swim caps for Black women, like that was also
that was ridiculous,
right? They was like, oh, y'all, we can't have that.
Define that for people. They wouldn't allow. Somebody made swim caps that would hold Black hair, and instead of the ones that were just flat on the head, which it doesn't hold Black hair in, and they literally said that Black women cannot wear these swim caps. But go ahead. I just wanted to make sure people knew about that.
Right. But all the rules are regulated or pushed towards Black folks, right? But when you look at Michael Phelps, right? Michael Phelps has an unfair advantage. His torso and his legs, the way that they are built, are different than regular people. The fact that he can carry more lactic acid inside of his legs makes him a better swimmer. And he will get high on a Wheaties box, right? And nobody will care about what Michael Phelps is doing and how high he's getting, right? But somebody's mom dies and admits, like, yeah, and it's illegal where she is. Like, it's legal in the state of where she is. There's like, my mom died. Like, do you know what it took for me to be able to get to this level and to be authentically herself? Like, I don't have to conform to all these other things to be able to run. I can be myself and run, and to be criticized for that, and then to have it be taken away from her from something that Michael Phelps is celebrated for, right? it's that, and it goes back to that idea of resiliency. Like I was so excited when someone was like, "No, I'm not doing it." Like I'm just not, and I was like, "Yes, don't. You shouldn't have to. You
And that
already know."
that was after Naomi said that and got criticized for
Another
it.
one,
So
right?
she
Yeah.
knew what she was up against when she said it. So that was
Right.
even more powerful to me because it was like, you're about to, this is the Olympics. And with Naomi, that was just talking to media.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to talk to y'all. I'm taking a mental health break. She had
Right.
faced so much backlash, especially from media publicly on Twitter, and for Simone to do that and know what was going to happen, like to me, that's even more powerful because she was like, I really don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like, I'm going to do what I got to do for myself.
Right.
But then it impacted her. And I think she tweeted later that she was so thankful because she had felt, in so many words, she said something to the lines like she had felt like, her only purpose was what she was doing. And now she knows that she's cared about it, even when she's not doing that. So I thought that was good for her.
100%. And I was out like, yeah, I was celebrating all of that. Like I didn't watch the Olympics at all. I read the beelines of what was happening, but for me, that was the most impactful thing. And I just was like, wow, it's happening on a world stage. Like they are showing white supremacy and the resiliency of Black folks on a world stage, Black femmes on a world stage of how they can't be too feminine. They can't be too masculine. They can't cover their hair. They can't be great at what they do. Like it.
We can't wear a weave. We can't wear it natural. We can't wear it short. We can't wear it long. We can't wear a cap. We can't be too strong. We can't be strong enough. We can't take a break because we're too weak. But then when we're too strong, we can't do it in the same strength that we're doing it.
Right. Because everybody else got to be able to. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, Black women. Yeah. It's so frustrating. And this is life for everybody. It may not be to those it may not be on a public, platform like folks in the Olympics or folks that are famous, but like Black women endure this type of shit their whole lives, like in the job, in the workplace, in school, like we're never enough. Yeah, I'm gonna move on. So today, Chief Daniel Hahn announced that he was retiring. I'm going to shout out the Voices of River City right now. They're a good podcast to listen to. Dave Kempa runs that, and it's very grassroots. And I often, whenever news comes out, a lot of news has come out this week that we haven't even talked about, but whenever news comes out, I always look and see what they said, like what they say about it. Because they tend to do a lot of research and then they form very educated, informed opinions. And so I appreciate that about them. So that's what the first person that told me about it was someone in the media that I'm friends with. And then after that, I looked for it, I couldn't find it. And then I saw, Dave Kempa had posted about it and posted his opinions about it. And so there's two theories that are up in the air. My whole thing was, and I posted the Twitter on the BLM SAC Twitter page today, like, why does the city of Sacramento have such a hard time keeping Black people when it evolves around law enforcement and fire? About a year ago, Francine Turner was with the Office of Public Safety and Accountability. And that office is put in place to oversee law enforcement and fire when they are told that they've done something wrong, when there's a police involved shooting, things like that. So she was in that office by herself. She finally got an assistant. I worked with her a lot, not work with, but anytime that we've been harassed by police or whenever I got stalked by police, I always submitted a report with her to get it documented. And that's what I urge people to do whenever folks have an instance where they've been beaten by police or been harassed on a really violent level by law enforcement. The first thing I have them do is I go with them to the Office of Public Safety and Accountability. We submit a report. A lot of times I'd have Francine sit with us instead of us just submitting a paper like the normal process is. You just fill it out and send it in and you get a report back saying that it was either valid or not. But I would have Francine sit, hear the story, write things down. And so, I often spoke with her because of her role with oversight of the Sacramento Police Department. When she quit, one part of her role was to go to the scene of an incident every time an incident happened and look at it and investigate it. That's traumatizing. So she was boots on the ground, basically. And I'm not saying that she was on our side completely, because she was ex-law enforcement, so I'm sure she had some bias. But at the end of the day, when she quit, she didn't just quit her job, she moved the fuck out of Sacramento. And she said it was because she couldn't take what she was doing anymore, and there was too much screwed up stuff going on at the city of Sacramento. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to Desmond Lewis, who was a Black firefighter who quit recently because of all the racism that he endured at different police departments. At different fire departments, or different fire stations. And so he experienced enough to make him fed up. One of his friends followed suit. And so that's an ongoing thing. And now we are with Chief Hahn. So the first thing I thought was like, okay, how come the city of Sacramento can't keep its Black employees when it comes to, you know, folks on the front lines for the city of Sacramento? And that was my first thought. But I looked over at Dave Kempa, and he was talking about he's running for office. And Chief Hahn is a political person. He's very much a politician when he responds to things. So I don't know if that's the case either. But what are your thoughts, Mr. Brazelton?
I don't know. I don't know which office he would run for. I think it's an interesting.
The
I think
sheriff,
we're seeing,
maybe?
huh?
The sheriff?
You know what? I don't know. I don't like any of them. So I'll be like,
I know, I don't like it.
That might be the transition that he makes from city to county. Like, I mean, that would definitely put something on the resume. I mean, him coming from, was it Roseville?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's been kind of this trendsetter blazer for like, I don't hate saying it. I feel like Chief Hahn is like, oh, you got a racism problem? Then I'm the Black chief for you, right? Like,
I'm gonna make your face prettier for
right. Like, you know what I mean? I'm gonna let the racism happen, but I'm gonna be the Black face that says it doesn't exist.
And
So I mean, definitely the county could use someone like that. To be honest, because the sheriff is horrible. Like, the sheriff was garbage, like
trash.
Just trash, just straight trash.
Like, not even the clean kind, like the kind that's outside of the house.
But that's been sitting out for multiple weeks. Like, he's garbage trash. Like, he's a dumpster fire. So yeah, I mean, I don't know in the sense of what his political aspirations are. If it stays within the law enforcement portion of it. I think we're seeing some changes when it comes to like the attorney general and that type of aspect of what's shaking up in California. I think there still needs to be some pressure applied to like what happens with police accountability. But I think a lot of them, just like you were saying in the previous role, I think a lot of folks who are Black and come into these roles in law enforcement believe that they can make a change. But I'm like, a system that is so inherent to slavery, like the history of what that system is, it's really hard to just change the face of it when the root of it is so corrupt, when the root of it is so, you know. So I mean, and I think that a lot of people end up like that messes with your spirit. And, you know, being the one, it's not like Chief Hahn got, 50 Black officers hanging around him. He got the same racist people who have been getting away with the same racist shit they've been getting away with for 100 years. And, same thing goes with fire folks, you know what I mean? And the thing, I'm gonna pause for just a second. The thing that pisses me off so much about fire is that 33% of people who fight fires inside of California, especially during this time of year, are incarcerated people who can't come out and get a goddamn job as a firefighter.
Right. And that's a whole nother conversation.
I know,
No, it's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. To Chief Hahn, though, it's like, and this is not sympathy, I promise you this, because I have no sympathy for him. And I'll admit, in the beginning, I did feel sorry for him because I didn't know him. And I thought, okay, now this Black man is going to be the face of the racist SAC PD. And so I felt bad for him. But then when Stephon Clark was killed and we're sitting in a city hall council meeting and he's looking at his phone and I told him to pay attention and he rolled his eyes, it was like, bruh, there's people crying, there's family members here, there's people talking about this and you need to be paying attention because your police officers did this. That's when I just lost kind of all respect for him. And we've had conversations after that. And he knows what makes him really scary to me is the fact that he will talk like we are talking right now about Black revolutionary shit and then go right back to his chair in his office and do anti-Black shit with racist police officers. And so this isn't sympathy, but my thing is like, it's gotta be hard to be a Black person in a toxic ass white supremacist space and your officers underneath you are going out every day and doing anti-Black shit to people and, or not even that, doing racist stuff to people, acting like white supremacists, hanging with white supremacists. It's been documented, it's on camera. Yeah. There's visuals for 4 whole years of protesting. Right. You see all this on a regular basis and you have to vouch for them and you have to say that what they're doing isn't wrong. Who
that's the line that you have to tell, but the thing that's even more shitty about the city of Sacramento, you couldn't fire them even if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. It takes the city manager to be able to move that, even to bring that to you. So even as the chief of police to say that of Sac PD to be like, hey, I would recommend this. Until Howard Chan says that out of his mouth, ain't no way in hell that he can say anything like that. And if you don't know, now you know, Howard Chan is never gonna say anything about the police, and especially when it comes to them killing Black folks and being racist, period.
They're all rubbing each other's backs, and that's to put it in a nice way. Yeah, they're all rubbing each other's backs. They're all rubbing each other. It's a mess. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens if nothing happens.
Yeah, inquiring minds want to know. I want to see where it goes from there.
Really quick, I just want to plug. We purchased some land. We want to build a community house on it. And by community home, I mean a space for people to come and feel comfortable, to take their shoes off, to get what they need. We have a whole bunch of resources for the community. We need a place to funnel those resources into community. This space is open to Black people all over Sacramento. It's not just to one community. There's a second parcel that is attached to this parcel that we have the ability to purchase. We have been given the opportunity to purchase it for a certain dollar amount, and we are $7,000 away from that dollar amount. $7,000, which it's a lot to someone that's broke, but it's not shit to these like companies and like everybody else. It's not a lot of money. Like we've raised, last month we raised $17,000. So this month, you know, we're at like, and I'm just giving you guys updates. This month from August 1st till today, we've raised $4,000. But we're $7,000 away. So even if you can't donate, please go into the Facebook fundraiser, click invite and select people because it's a numbers game. Tell people to donate. If you're having a birthday and Facebook says, hey, who do you want to pick as a nonprofit to have people donate to? Pick us. We need to get this community center and this garden. The second parcel of land will be for the garden. And that will be, the community home is going to have to be built, but the garden will be immediate. We will start planting and working that land immediately and get those seeds growing immediately. So please share it. Please donate if you have the means. That's all I can think of. I'm not a good fundraiser. I'm not good at asking for money. I'm really bad at it, but
I appreciate that you say that, but I just want to say thank you. You really helped drive that, and thank you to the folks who have contributed and supported. It's like, yeah. It's going to be a monumental thing for the community of Sacramento, just overall. And yeah, if you have an opportunity to be able to donate, please do. If you can't donate, please share. And if you share it again. You know, there's a lot of
power is ridiculous. Like we know our system is powerful, and it's had decades and decades to build that power and be as powerful as it is. But we've seen like how people power will come in the instant of a situation and turn shit up, and it won't have decades of buildup or decades of like, you know, preparation or training. Like when Stephon Clark was killed, we didn't prepare for thousands of people to hit the streets. We didn't prepare to shut down the Kings game. I actually doubted that we could do it. We didn't prepare to shut down the freeway, but people power is amazing. It's more powerful than the systems that we're fighting if we were working like the systems that are fighting. And I only say that to say thank you to everybody that's donated, because of you, we are $7,000 away from the purchase. And this purchase is not cheap. So because of y'all, we are $7,000 away from the purchase. So I really, really want to show my appreciation, and we will show our appreciation more once this building is built. My vision is like a block party. Like I want us to celebrate the hell out of this, and I want the people to come through, and I want everybody to eat, and I want everybody to sit down and enjoy music and I don't know, everything that you could think of. And we want to give the community food. There are so many needs that are right now, and that's why I'm so like urgent, like we've got to get this done, because there's people that need to eat right now. There's people hurt by intra-community violence right now. There's people, you know, people that don't know their resources that they have available to them, and they could be just doing wonderful things if they had access to the things that would make them be able to do wonderful things. And so we want to give access to these people so that they are able to do the most with themselves, and do it the way they want to. So I'm excited.
Love it. I'm excited about it.
All right.
I can't wait. And thank you to the 7,000 people who are going to donate to make it possible tomorrow.
Oh, all right, y'all. I think that's it. Do you have anything else you want to say, Victor, before we clock out?
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night. Ciao.
Ciao.